Hello and welcome to the Reeton Entertainment Podcast, episode 428 for December 3rd, 2023. My name is Nathan Reeton-Spruth. Joining me this week, we have Andrew Roa McFain.
I did it. I made it. Here I am.
Awesome. And Connor's not here today because he got sick, so hopefully he gets better. That also means our Shadowrun campaign for today is canceled. But I would like to ask you, where can we find you?
And hopefully go to a road website. I haven't checked whether or not a road website still forwards you or redirects you like it's supposed to.
Hopefully it
I
does.
I have a sneaking suspicion that it doesn't actually.
You might want to check that out. And I will point that one of the links, there actually two of the links, there's Clinton Core Classics, which is our Pathfinder first edition actual play podcast. That's up there. It's done, so you can listen from beginning to end, and it's pretty all right. We get a lot better at everything, basically. There's at the beginning, when you're first starting out an actual play or any podcast, there's a learning curve. And one of the things I found was that people would be like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, let's explain, because it's an audio format. So we have to explain everything that's going on. And then also kind of explain the rules, because sometimes people don't have the rule book in front of them. So say, hey, this is why we're doing this. But we get better at that. And then you can hear that improvement in our second podcast that we're doing, our Shadowrun actual play podcast called Bug City Blues, which Connor has been working a lot to make that really good, apparently. And we keep having people join the fucking server and are like, oh yeah, I listened to the podcast. Like it happened again this week. Another person joined because they're listening to one of the tabletop podcasts that we've done, and I'm really sad because it's never the Reeton Entertainment Podcast.
I'm also I guess sad but not disappointed because it's what I expect.
Yeah, sad but not disappointed. Like I know that's what's gonna happen, but every once in a while I'd be like people to like my podcast. We get views. I looked at the fucking analytics. It's not like we're getting 0 views, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. I can't see the analytics for the Bug City Blues or Pathfinder podcast though, because I'm not an admin on those, so I can't go in there and look at the analytics.
Well,
Anyway,
that sounds like a problem for you, doesn't it?
it does. It is a problem for me, because I pay for it. But whatever, it's fine. You can find me, Nathan Reeton-Spruth, everywhere at Reeton. The main one is Twitch, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time. I play games, play lots of games, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But first, I want to ask Aroa what games he's played.
So the game I'm going to talk about, I don't have a ton to say because I don't want to spoil anything in it. But you're probably subscribed to. I think the dude's name is Jacob. Is it Jacob Geller? Is that it? That sounds right.
I don't know. I don't think I am.
So, well, he's this dude, and he does. He does video essays like everyone else on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
But he did one on 3 different types of horror game. And one of the games that he talked about in that video was Who's Lila? And it just sounded utterly fascinating. So I got it, and actually turned out to be from the dude who made something that I had seen before, but had never really looked into, which was Your Amazing Tigachi.
Okay.
Which was kind of I don't know if you've seen anything on I think it's like the thing where it's like an anime girl Tomagotchi sort of thing, but she's a streamer, and you're like her manager, but like the gimmick slash sort of like dark humor of it is that she has a lot of mental issues, and
Okay.
so you're really just trying to keep her from falling apart. It's kind of in that same vein, and I know I'm jumping around here.
So you get to play
Uh,
Amaranth's ex-husband.
yeah, kind of. Um, but anyway, coming back. So, Who's Lila is on the surface, it's a point and click adventure game with a pretty neat gimmick of instead of just choosing dialogue options, whenever you meet someone, the dialogue option is chosen for you. What you have to do is choose what facial expression to make as you're saying the dialogue option. And
Creepy smile the
uh,
whole time.
well, you see, that's the thing. To choose the facial expression, you have to grab the facial muscle that you want to move, and you move it like you're in like the Sims 4 character creator or something.
Okay.
Uh, so it ends up being where your character makes a lot of really goofy faces that are then interpreted as a friendly smile or sad or scared or disgusted. Um, and at first it is just kind of like goofy, but one, it's interesting to me that they ended up finding a way to make that a story element, essentially that your character has some kind of mental problem, whether they're neurodivergent or what, um, where that just happens with them. Uh, but also there's the fact that they seem to be possessed by some kind of otherworldly entity, uh, and that otherworldly entity might be you, the player.
Yeah, that sounds
Like
about right.
you may not be controlling the the character exactly, but you're controlling the entity that is possessing the character. It's like, and it gets really fucking wild pretty quickly, depending on what choices you make. Uh, and it goes to some like pretty fucked up places. I've only played it for a couple hours, and I still don't know everything. It
Well,
is
yeah, and you've only
absolutely
played it for a couple of hours.
well. It's not a very long game.
Oh, okay.
I've gotten I think 6 endings so far. Uh, but like part of part of it is that you have to play the game over again multiple times to try to get the full picture of what is going on. Uh, and it's kind of fun that you can go back through conversations that you've had before and make a completely different face, and then things end up coming across in totally different ways. At one point, there's a police interrogation, and that was very interesting because you kind of have to come up with or like think what what face would you want to make to be convincing in this situation, because it's not necessarily that you'd want to smile because they're a cop, they're asking you questions about a crime. If you smile, that's going to possibly make you look guilty. Like it's really cool. And there's a lot of weird shit that comes in with that. I was it, I whenever I stopped playing, I had come to the conclusion that it's without a doubt the most David Lynch video game I've ever played. It's very obviously strongly influenced by the works of David Lynch, particularly Twin Peaks. Uh, like
I've never
it's there.
seen I've never seen Twin Peaks. I hear great things and then it's really weird, but I've never actually
Uh,
seen it.
it is really weird and it's absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
It is an amazing and you should know coming from me who can't stand watching a TV series or a movie or anything.
You're
Like
you are you have such a high amount of ADD, I think, that you're just like, it's
uh
been 15 minutes. Why is this not over yet?
yeah, like even for me, like I was able to sit through pretty much the entirety of uh Twin Peaks: The Return, the third season, and a vast majority of the first two seasons in one big sitting. So it
That's good.
was, yeah,
I'll
that
watch it
shit's
at
great.
I'll watch it at some point in my life. But
Yeah,
anyway,
but
did you play
but
anything
yeah,
else?
um, I toyed around with Lethal Company. I don't know if I played that last week or not, but uh, I can't play it without other people. It's just not possible.
What game was that again?
That is Lethal Company.
I have
Uh,
that as well.
like
And
every streamer is playing it because
yeah,
I said when it came out, I said this is going to be the next Phasmophobia.
it's
Every
true.
streamer is going to be playing this,
Yep.
and I knew it, and it is.
Yep. I have it as well. I actually, again, like with you, I think we're hipsters. We jumped on that. We bought it before everyone else bought it, or or
Hmm.
or before everyone started streaming it. But I barely played it because the only reason I bought it was because it was like, oh hey, it's like $9. You wanna buy it? And I was like, yeah, sure. And right after I bought it, Durga messaged me and was like, hey, this looks pretty good, and I'll probably play it with you. And I was like, oh yeah, I already got it. And I think this was in the Discord, and you had replied that you had already got it as well. But then like a week later, everybody was playing it, and I played it a little bit yesterday, and by I played it I mean I went into a building, looked around, and then it was like, hey, you have to leave, otherwise the ship's gonna leave without you. And I was like, oh, I got to get out of here, and I couldn't find my way out, and the ship left without me.
Oh, you had an
Yeah.
even worse time than I did.
I didn't die though, so that's good. I mean, I did get abandoned and probably died, but
Oh yeah,
I
you're
I
good.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually get killed by any of the monsters because I ran away
Well,
when I saw them.
it,
Anyway.
I recovered one thing, and then I was like, all right, I can't do anything else in there. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm. That's a
Like,
smart way to do it if you don't have multiple people. But I'm gonna move
yeah.
on to the games I actually played because I played for like 10 minutes of Lethal Company, so that doesn't really count. The two games I played, Starfield was the first game, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not as good as the Fallout games, and it's got a lot of empty planets. I'm still having fun with it. When I sit down and I just play it and kind of turn my brain off, it's fun. I actually completed one of the storylines. There's a storyline. I won't spoil it too much, but you have the option of joining either the Crimson Fleet or the UC, which is the like cops basically of the system, like the people who patrol the systems and stuff. And I completed that storyline, and either way that you go in that storyline, you get a ton of money at the very end. So the quest line awards you 250,000 credits. So I was pretty happy about that. Uh and yeah, so that's the last thing I did before I logged off for the night on Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I played some Baten Kaitos. Have you? You haven't played Baten Kaitos or seen it much at all, have
I
you?
I only know of it as being like one of those hallmark sort of what do you call it?
Underappreciated.
Yeah, underappreciated gems of its time.
Yeah, and
It's
it's got a weird like card based mechanic in it where you make a deck and that's how you do your turn based fighting. One of the
huh.
things, so I'm playing it. Uh, I own the legit version on the Switch, but I am playing it through an emulator. And 2 times it's happened. The first time scared me, where if you exit, like if you enter into a menu and you exit that menu too quickly, it may crash the emulator.
Hmm.
And I was like, I haven't saved for like half an hour. I was like, oh no. And so I load back into the game, and it has a very generous autosave system where it autosaves basically every time you transition. So I only lost 2 minutes of gameplay. And I
That's
was
cool.
like, oh, thank you. Thank you, modern conveniences. Because I would have been mad if I would have lost like 45 minutes of gameplay. Uh, but it's fun. I think I'm about halfway through it, maybe a little bit more than halfway through it. I did find out one thing that they don't explain in the game, and I had to Google it because I don't have the physical manual. One So normally it starts you out with different numbers on the card on the top right. So it'll have like 1, 2, 3 for the different numbers. And you can get additional damage if you get like a pair. So if you get a 2 and a 2 for attacks, then you get a little bit more damage. And if you do a straight, so you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get quite a bit more damage. Like you get almost double your damage. But they start adding in different numbers on the different corners of the cards with the higher level cards that you get. And I was like, how the hell do I use those other numbers? And the answer is the C stick. So instead of just pressing A to select the card, you like move the C stick to the bottom left, and that will choose the number on that side. So you can get straights and pairs easier. It's pretty unintuitive, but I'm happy that it works. But again, they don't explain that in the game. You kind of just either have to figure it out or Google it, or maybe read the manual if you do that sort of thing. Do
And
you
would
read
it
the
be?
manual?
Was it like? Did you get that off of like a game fax or
Yeah,
something? Or
yeah, it was off Game
oh,
Packs. Yeah,
eh.
yeah. The post was 14 years ago, so it was a long time ago. But yeah,
It-
that's how you do it. And by the way, I am one of the people that actually does read like when we had physical manuals, I would actually read the manual front to back because my mom uh when I was a kid, she would buy me a new game and she knew that I don't hate reading, but I wouldn't sit there and, just read through a book a lot. And so what she did was like, you need to read this manual front to back before I let you play the new game that you got. So I would always just read the manual. And
that's
that
fucking weird.
it was a way of her getting me to read more, at least. And a lot of times back in the day, they actually put information in the manual that was helpful to the
Yeah,
storyline. Uh,
back whenever they actually did that, I did read the
yeah.
manual pretty often. But
Like in a lot of Japanese games, that was like they listed for like especially the Final Fantasy games, they would list people's blood types, and I was very
that
confused.
yeah, I still don't know why
I know why.
Japanese stuff does. Why is that a thing?
It's a thing because that's their fucking horoscope.
Oh,
Yeah, so like if you have I don't know what type of blood correlates to what type of personality, but that's it. If you have like an A blood type, then you are seen as having this personality trait.
how odd to choose that of all things.
Yeah, when they listed in the manual for Final Fantasy VIII the blood type, I thought there would be like a blood transfusion thing later on in the game, but there was none of that, which they should definitely have in a game at some point. Be like, have it in the
It's a
manual,
side quest where one of your characters needs a blood transfusion.
and if you choose wrong, then you lose that character. Oh, that would be wonderful. Do
That'd
you
be
know
like
this
a
person's
Kojima
blood
thing.
type? Do you know this person's blood type? Ah, shit. Let me get the manual. And they're like, you only have 3 minutes to figure it out. Oh, that would be great. Anyway, we are gonna move. Oh, that could be like a anti-piracy thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or what I was saying, like it'd be like a Kojima thing, like where you had to get that the uh, frequency off of the back of the box for Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. Anyway, we are gonna move on to some stories, and one of the stories, let's just get it out of the way. Um, I don't care. I don't know why you guys bring up stuff like this. Baldur's Gate 3 had what a huge update, right? It was like 20 something gigs.
Yeah, yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about their dicks.
Look, I didn't bring this up.
It was Connor.
Don't come to me. I
Um,
even shared this. I shared this in my Discord, and then didn't post it as a story because it's not a story. But
yeah, one of the updates is that they've added jiggle physics to the game for some reason. And you've always been able to in Baldur's Gate 3 choose your genitalia, and now it reacts with physics, I guess. Why did Connor bring this up?
it's I guess it's like just another sign of how Larian takes stuff seriously.
Or not so
They take their
seriously.
immersion. They take their immersion seriously.
They do. And I'm actually kind of surprised that there wasn't as much backlash on the fact that you can make trans characters in Baldur's Gate 3 just super easily.
Oh yeah, yeah. My character is a dick girl.
Yeah, and there's like no backlash on that. And I don't know why. I know why. It's because it's not a mainstream game that like Fox News can be like, look at this. Look at this game where you can make a cat girl.
Well, and also like, how do you cover that without like how do you cover that on TV? Because you'd have to at some point be like, you can just choose what genitals they have. What is this liberal nonsense? Like,
Yeah,
it's just kind of absurd. But
it is. It is absurd, but
uh,
it's also fucking Dungeons and Dragons. Like you've been able to do stuff like that in Dungeons and Dragons since probably first edition. What was it? Advanced Dungeons and Dragons? Is that second edition? I have the book somewhere.
that is a separate thing,
Oh, is it?
from my understanding. Yeah, it's
I don't.
like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was like where normal Dungeons and Dragons wasn't complicated enough for you.
Oh,
It's
I
like for
see.
the hardcore players.
I see. I see. That makes sense. I am really happy that all the D&D and Pathfinder that I played doesn't go with THACO rules. Because that just...
Thaco?
THACO. Yeah. Yeah. You never heard of THACO?
No, I can't say I have.
It was in the original Baldur's Gate. THACO. It is an acronym standing for Two Hit Armor Class 0. Refers to the roll required for a character to score a hit on a hypothetical opponent with on a hypothetical opponent with an armor class of 0, which in turn is used to calculate other attack rolls. THACO is associated primarily with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition and was discontinued in later editions of the game. It is pronounced THACO or THACO. Everyone I've heard says THACO. It's really weird the way it's not like, all right, Aroa, your AC is 15. I have to get a roll, and my attack is +3, so I have to get a 12 or higher to attack your armor or to beat your armor class. It's like the opposite. You have to get the lower the better.
Oh, that's doesn't make any goddamn sense.
No, that's why it was discontinued. Yeah, it says the target's armor class is subtracted from the attacker's THACO when determining a hit. For example, a character with a THAC0 of 14 must roll between 14 and 20 on a d20 to hit an opponent with an AC 0.
That just sounds that sounds like an artifact of like the one dude who was making up these rules just came up with that because like what the fuck else do you do when you're making up tabletop RPG for the first time?
Yeah.
And then like they just kind of kept it because why not? And it took until I guess third edition then to for somebody to go, why is it like this? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. We are going to move on to the next story and we're going to
Wait,
talk.
wait
Huh, what?
I do want to mention the big update. It's not just like a patch with like fixes and shit. It adds an entire fucking epilogue.
Yeah. 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 It's really cool. They added an epilogue. They've added, it's a playable epilogue too, from
Yeah,
what I
like it's
understand.
it's so you can go around and hang out with all of the people that were in your party at the end of the game,
Yeah.
and just like see how everybody's doing. But only if you got the good ending.
Well, yeah. If you got the bad ending, there's not much for you to do.
Well, no, like straight up, if you got the evil ending, um, there is no epilogue yet.
Oh, I see. I see. Because I know that with one of the endings, you become the big bad, basically.
Yeah, I
And
kind of figured there'd be something like that.
yeah, and so I'm gonna spoil if you don't like spoilers, skip ahead about a minute or something like that, but it doesn't really matter. Um, so one of the ways at the very end, uh, you can betray somebody, literally stab them in the back, and you take control of the big bad in the thing and turn all of your party into mind flayers. And then you control them.
Huh.
Yeah. That's the baddest of bad endings from what I understand. I
It's
did
very
not do that.
meta.
Yeah. And so I would imagine that that would be part of why you would not have an evil end. Like, oh, I'm going to go talk to all my friends. Oh, yeah, I control you. You're a mind flayer now. We're
They are planning on giving you some kind of epilogue if you did the evil ending though
Oh, okay. That's
later.
cool. That's good. You could be the big bad. It's all right. That's okay. You can be the ruler of the world. Anyway, now can we move on to the next story?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on. I don't know. Did you or Connor bring up this one? He brought up. Nope, you brought up this one. This was the AI in Naruto and Silent Hill. They are denying using AI, which apparently something's up. Is it a TV show for Silent Hill? Is there a Silent Hill TV show going on?
So I talked about this like when it first started. It's it's this weird like live stream version of those episodes of Black Mirror that are choose your own adventure games
Okay.
where like everyone that's watching the live stream gets to vote on what happens next and that determines which button the the showrunners push to play a different MP4 file. Basically, like it's really weird and it doesn't work quite right, and a lot of people are dunking on it. And a big reason that people are dunking on it, as well as I guess this other Naruto game, is because the writing is really fucking bad, and the like the dialogue in the Naruto game, particularly like the way that the lines are being read, uh, it all just sounds really bad.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, they're using AI. That's what they're doing.
The,
And
and the
the
developers came
people,
out.
yeah, the developers came back and went, no, we just suck.
Yeah. I don't know which is
Like
better.
the guy for the Silent Hill thing. He said every word in Ascension was written by real people, many of whom have long-running careers in writing, including Telltale titles, Pixar titles, Gears of War, God of War Ragnarok, Resident Evil Village, and more. Across our 100,000 plus words, 0 are authored by LLMs or AI, and all are from dedicated work of a talented team. And this article mentions uh, at one point a character says anal jizz.
I
Uh,
I didn't realize that this was also going to turn into a dirty story.
like there's another excerpt that's first man, wait, don't shoot, please. Second man, what are you doing out here? You could have been killed. First man, I'm just foraging for wild berries, I swear. I stumbled on a great patch of rowan berries over here. And it's just like, what? What? That's such a stupid, like, nonsense thing to have in a scene in Silent Hill, and it's like it doesn't. It yeah. We just wrote a really weird bit of dialogue. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Interesting. I I do like that they're not using AI, but in this case, maybe they should have. Maybe they should have. I
Uh,
I don't know. Like I understand not using AI and saying, "Hey, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way." And which is good. And I'm not even going to say anything terrible about the writing because yeah, like that sounds really awkward and stupid, but writing is hard, man. Like writing itself, and most people can do it at this point, thank you public schools, but actually writing something that's like compelling and goes with the flow, that can be difficult, but that's why you have editors. And that's why you have like you don't just say, "Ah, good job," and then you just put it in there and hope that it sounds okay. So it's a bit of a struggle there. And
yeah,
good for them for making it. I haven't played either of these or watched any of it, so I don't
me
really
neither.
have much to say about it. But
There's there is. I will say, the Naruto clip they have in here. I can kind of understand why you would read it as AI. But again, I still think it's also very likely that it was just really bad direction, or even that because it's a line where Naruto says, "Did that wake you up?" Like it, the inflection just makes absolutely no sense. Like no human would ever speak like that. And
was it
if
originally
any,
in Japanese?
well, of course it was.
Well, that's
Um,
probably it. Because remember in the early
well,
2000s.
it's not just that the dialogue is weird. Like it's that the voice actor would have had to say that and think that that made sense. Like the way that they read that made sense.
Well, okay,
So
and
and
to my point, what I was going to say was, if you remember in the early 2000s with lots of, Final Fantasy and all those JRPGs that would be brought over, you would have a lot of stilted dialogue with that because they didn't want to change the animation for the English voice actors, so you'd get like Titus
what?
just being
Yeah,
like I care, and then running off. And
yeah.
that's
But
probably what happened.
I think it honestly it sounds to me more like because like the actual like voice line doesn't match up with the mouth flaps at all
Oh, okay.
in this. Like it's not just that. If anything, it kind of sounds like they forgot to record this line or
Oh,
something, or like they forgot to record this particular interaction and cut that line out of another line of dialogue or something and just put it in there. Like that's what it sounds like
interesting.
to me. It's like a weird patchwork of they had a recording of that particular series of words in a completely different context, and they used that because they didn't want to have to bring the voice actor back in. Like it could be that. It could also be AI, I guess. Like, but it's fascinating to me that like that's going to be what everyone thinks now. Is it like, well, if it's bad, then it was probably just it was AI. That's what it was. That's
I
why this sucks.
I saw, and this isn't a story that I brought up that we were going to talk about, but it kind of fits in. I believe EA, there is a company who is patenting voice recording so that it can use AI to generate your voice as the main character in video games.
Mm, that seems
And
like a really that I don't know if you could patent that at this point. I know
I
that's beside the point, but
they filed a patent. I don't know if it's it. They, just because they
well,
filed it doesn't mean it's going to be accepted.
yeah,
But I do think that's
like
neat.
there's a lot of stuff that can do that, and yeah, I think that's cool too. I bothered with doing the because the most recent like major iOS update added a feature where you can do that. You can record a ton of sentences, and your phone will create an AI voice that sounds like your voice, and then you can use text to speech to communicate using the voice on your phone. Um,
I think that maybe the EA patent, and again, it could be a different studio. Don't quote me that it's EA, but with this patent, it might just apply only to video games.
that is definitely why they filed a patent for
Mm-hmm.
it. That it's in that specific context. It's
I
just
yeah, I would be okay with it, but it definitely has to be an opt-in thing. It
oh
can't
yeah,
be an
yeah, yeah.
opt-out. Which
And but like it would be really hard to do that transparently without like you'd have to somehow get recordings of the player's voice, you know,
and I bet,
without
yeah,
them knowing. Like,
I bet it will be like, okay, say this phrase, and then say this phrase, and say this, and you'll do that for about 5 minutes, and then
yeah,
it will generate something based on your voice, and hopefully it would be all right. I doubt it would sound natural.
I will say that using the personal voice feature on my iPhone, one, it took about half an hour to record everything. It was very tedious. I can't imagine most people wanting to go through that, especially somebody who just wants to play a fucking video game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, I think 5 minutes even like that doesn't sound like much, but 5 minutes of just reading arbitrary lines of text is really fucking tedious.
Yeah,
Um,
and what can
but
you use that on? Is it like Apple Maps? You can get your own voice telling you to turn left and right.
I wish that that was how it worked. I did it because I just assumed that I could make Siri's voice my voice. That was why I went through all of the trouble. But you can only use it with the like really shitty text to speech stuff. Like I think if you like highlight text, it's like for accessibility purposes.
And what
Uh,
not even on my phone, and again, I don't use iPhones, but I'm pretty sure they have a translator app. Uh with like Apple Translate or something, you can't it's not going to be your voice for that either.
you would have to copy the text out of the translate app and then paste it into the speak for me app, whatever the hell it is. It's a little accessibility function, but basically you can have a text box pop up on your phone that'll let you type whatever you want into it, and then you press a button and it reads it out using the text to speech voice that you've chosen, and that's the main use of that feature. uh
That sounds awful.
yeah, it's like they marketed it as for like nonverbal people or people who currently are fully mentally functional, but have some kind of degenerative illness where they're eventually going to lose their ability to speak. So it's a way of like preserving that capability. I get it. It seems very niche and
Yeah.
probably more or less just a way for them to beta test this technology. But yeah,
I
I would be so down for a game that let me do that though. Like,
it'd be interesting, like having a Fallout game or Starfield or something, where instead of being a silent protagonist like it should be, uh, I'm bashing on Fallout 4's dialogue because it was awkward, but
mhm.
like having your voice in that role would be interesting, and I wonder if they could make a mod that would do that. Uh,
um,
I could
it
see
would.
somebody making a mod to put that into Fallout 4 and using your own voice.
So I will say there's an open source uh bit of software that I have. Um, I haven't really played with it much yet because I don't. I just don't feel like reading everything on how to make it work. Uh, but it will run a model on your GPU that can automatically, do it change your voice pretty substantially, and it's very, very good. The problem that you're going to run into with something like that is that machine learning models like that take up a lot of memory and
Yeah.
they have to run on your GPU. So you're not gonna like you can't really do that with like a Fallout or a Starfield because the game's gonna want all of your video memory and
That makes
all of
sense.
the processing power on that. But considering like most newer CPUs are starting to get AI accelerator
Mm-hmm.
chips, I could absolutely see that being a possibility with the next gen of consoles and then PC hardware down the line.
I just want to move on to the next story because I want to mention one thing in particular because I think it's hilarious. So PlayStation, I believe on the PS3, this is the PS3. They're getting rid of a lot of movies and TV shows that you paid
Oh,
for.
this is not just PS3, bro.
Oh, what is it then?
This is just the PlayStation Store.
Oh, nice. So even if it's on the PS5?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So with the when you buy something on an online storefront, thankfully like Steam's pretty good about it. Where even if the game is discontinued, you still get to play it. You can still down like I have Deadpool, and I believe Deadpool was released and then taken off the store and then put back on the store after some licensing stuff changed. And I think they pulled it again. Am I correct in that? Do you know if
I
Deadpool is available?
know I know it was initially pulled. I feel like you are correct that it went back up later. I thought it was like they sort of tried to spin it as a sort of fixed version because the initial game was like terrible. I don't know if it was pulled again thereafter.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was it
remember.
was pulled because of licensing. They had a lot of music in there that they didn't want to pay for, and they probably removed the licensed music and put it back up. But I don't know if it was pulled again, and I'm too lazy to check. Anyway, uh, Steam's pretty good about that. But I've had like on the PS3, I bought it was the Simpsons arcade game and the X-Men arcade game. If you remember that, where in the end of the first level you meet up with Magneto and he's like, X-Men, welcome to die.
Yeah.
And I love that line. And they pulled both of those games and you can't download them anymore. So you don't own the games. And they're doing this on the PlayStation Store with a ton of movies and a ton of TV shows. One of those TV shows is named Wives with Knives.
What the fuck?
Wives with Knives season 3.
How the fuck am I gonna watch Wives with Knives now?
You can still watch Wives with Knives season 1 and 2, I think. Just season 3 is the only one getting pulled. But there are like this scroll bar is
Oh
incredibly
yeah.
small. Which, and I'm not. Did they
What
say
the
how
fuck?
many are getting taken off?
Uh, this doesn't have a full count. It is bizarre now that I'm scrolling through it how
It's
like
all
you got
Discovery. They're
well
the
it
Discovery
is
Channel. Yeah.
but like like you lose Shark Week seasons 6 through 17, but not
Yeah.
1 through 5.
You also lose pretty much all of MythBusters, which sucks. Love that show.
Oh yeah, the licensing with Mythbusters has historically been very weird
Hmm.
with third parties. But yeah,
Oh no,
there's a lot.
my 600-pound life.
My
That
extreme animal phobia,
there
my
are
big
so
fat
many.
pet makeover,
There are so many,
mud loving rednecks.
and I would be okay with them obviously taking these down and saying, "Hey, we don't have the license to sell these anymore."
Hmm.
But you literally went and purchased them, and now you can't watch them anymore, and that's just messed up. I hate it. They
Yeah,
That should be, if you purchase them, you should own them and be able to do whatever you want with them.
it,
In this case, um, when it's a I don't like when they put encryption on it, which I know the PlayStation Store has encryption. Same thing with like the Microsoft Store if you buy a movie off of there. Uh, Especially if they're going to discontinue it, they should give you an unencrypted version you can download. To the point where, hey, we don't have this available. We won't have this available after the end of the year. But if you download it before then, you can put it onto your computer or something like that. Uh, but obviously they won't do that. And I know it's in the TOS, and when you sign the TOS and you agree to that, you're not going to be able to say, "Hey, I bought this stuff. I'm suing you now. Give me my money back," because Sony would destroy you in court. I'm pretty
well,
sure.
you say that that is the case in the United States. I don't know if this is also happening overseas,
Mm,
but there are a number of European countries, possibly the entire European Union, where this exact thing is illegal. This is against consumer protection laws.
interesting. I
So,
wonder if you would, if you were in the UK or something, if you would still have access to these. Also,
well, don't forget the
here.
UK is not part of the EU anymore.
Oh yeah. They made a mistake. Here comes Honey Boo Boo seasons 1 through 4. You're not gonna be able to
What the
watch
hell?
what?
What is Heavy Metal Task Force?
I saw that too. And I was there's so many things we cannot
Oh,
cover.
it's like they're like it's just like big machines, just like doing stuff with big machines.
And
That's just a gimmick.
one of the running jokes of this podcast, if you haven't listened for the last 420 something episodes, is that if there is a long list of like video games or something, I will read through all of the games. Um, I'm not doing that here
Yeah,
because there are just
Discovery's kind of put out like 10 new shows every fucking year. So,
like apparently like they just have they have like 20 oh wait. Look at Deadliest Catch. It goes season 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 99.
I
Apparently that's got to
don't
be
think that's accurate.
that's got to be like a specials, like season 00 or something where it's a
Oh
specials.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just like, what the fuck, man? Um so yeah, this sucks. And I bet you it's because I know Discovery has their own streaming platform, and I bet you they
Uh
want you to go to that.
well, Discovery and someone else
It's
just merged.
it's Paramount,
Was
isn't
it?
it?
No,
No,
wasn't it?
I'm pretty well. Let me back up
It was
here.
HBO, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Was it HBO?
Because that's why HBO Max is now just Max.
Oh, that's right. So those two joined. It's hard keeping track of all these failed streaming services. So you got HBO Max that started slipping ever since the Dragon Show was canceled or ended, and then you had Discovery, which just never really gained traction. And I think those did join, and they became HBO. Is it just HBO Max or is it just
It's
Max?
just
It's Max.
it's just Max. Yeah.
And then I think CBS All Access or the one CBS also joined with a different streaming
Is that
platform.
is that what Peacock is, or is that different? I
I
don't.
I think that's different because Peacock is NBC.
Oh, okay. I get those mixed up.
Yeah. But CBS was Star Trek. That's where all the
That's
Star,
right.
and I think that they joined with somebody else and became
They're Paramount. They're Paramount.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So
Red Letter Media, I remember, were complaining that they had to get Paramount Plus to watch Star Trek.
and also it just looks like and Cake Boss also has a season 99. So it's got to be like a specials. It's got to be. But yeah, what one thing I want to say is if you want a fucking random TV show, uh, to fucking pitch it to Discovery because they'll take anything. so many,
It
so many shows.
that's I watched a video a little while ago about that fact, about how like Discovery essentially just started doing the quantity over quality thing,
Yep.
and that's why they're dying slowly.
Yeah. Uh, where if you're interested, go. There's a link below, and you can look up all the shows that you'll be losing if you bought them on the PlayStation Store. And we will be moving on to our last story.
Piracy is always justified.
Well, first off, yeah, I don't think it's always justified. I'm
Piracy
gonna
is always justified.
I will say that it is not always justified, especially with like indie video game developers. That's that's the biggest thing for me is I don't really pirate video games anymore. Ever since, I got a job and can afford video games. But especially if there's an indie developer and you're taking money away from them. I did see there is one of the guys I watch on YouTube. He he made an actual like film and they showed it off a couple different places and he's self-publishing it. And I'm gonna self-publish it. It's X amount to rent, it's X amount to own. You can buy it from here, and I'll release a torrent here in a month or two that you can go download it if you don't want to pay for it. But if you can pay for it, please do. And I thought that was cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
our last story is have you ever played Thief? I actually brought this up because I was hoping Connor would be here, but he didn't. He's sick right now. Thief, the Dark Project, just got an expansion pack, and
Huh.
that released 25 years ago.
Yeah. No,
I
that was the first Thief game I played.
Yeah, see, I'm terrible at like all stealth games, so I'm really excited to watch Civi play through this. Um, because he's one of the YouTubers I watch, and he's been playing through like all the Thief games, and so I bet you he got the alert that this game was like they made an expansion pack, and he's like, God damn it, now I have to make a video. Um, but yeah, so what do you think of Thief the Dark Project? You said it's the first Thief game you ever played.
uh, I didn't play it a ton because I too am really bad at stealth games.
Yeah.
But I liked it a lot. I really really like the universe of Thief. I
Mm-hmm.
like the weird like mysticism crossed with steampunky atmosphere that it has going on. Uh
I like that it starts normal
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
that was the best thing.
it's like go rob this place and go rob this place. Oh, and by the way, there's automatons, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, there's also like these people and they worship some kind of fucking god that's like actually real.
Yeah,
Like they're demons living in the sewers and shit. Like, it's just how it be. Uh Also you have a mechanical eyeball later on. That's a thing.
yeah,
Uh
and I reading through this, apparently they add in what was it, four new? They add some new items. It says it's a 7 year. It took 7 years for them to make it. It is an unofficial free expansion for the game's Thief Gold Edition. It has 10 missions, four new tools, and 30 minutes of gorgeous cutscenes and more. And it's all free, so that's neat. As long as you
the
have Thief Gold, which I have Thief Gold on disc. I
Oh
have,
wow. That's
yeah,
cool.
somewhere. It's somewhere, but I actually have Thief Gold on a CD.
The director of the project was a level designer from Arcane.
Oh, nice. And that's the studio that made Deathloop and Redfall. Redfall. Yeah.
Was it Arcane Lion? Let's be fair, there are multiple Arcanes.
I don't know. I have no idea.
One of them's the good one.
I'm hoping it's the good one. But
They
I
made
don't know.
Dishonored. The Lion
Oh,
was
okay.
the Dishonored one.
Okay. It says that the year is you play as a different character. You play as a character named Hume. The year is 833, and you are now back in the city, a sprawling metropolis of soot-caked brick, greasy fumes, and noisy machinery, with many sinister conspiracy whispered behind closed doors. And I don't know, it's really neat. And also, I like how every freaking article you ever read, they're like, Arcane Lion level designer Romain Barriot?
I think it's Brio.
Barrio. Ah. Led the project as director and shared a quick teaser on X/Twitter. They always have to say like X/Twitter or X formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah,
If I were an editor for Eurogamer or Polygon, if they still exist, or any of those sites, I would just be like, call it Twitter. Don't even call it X. Just call it Twitter.
yeah. Honestly, you know what the company I work for did because of the X brand?
They
They just removed the social buttons from all of our outgoing emails
interesting. That's good.
because nobody uses them anyway. No one fucking cares. So
No,
they're just like, fuck it, just remove it.
no,
Because otherwise, we got
it's
to fix every fucking email and add the X logo and make sure that it fits right. And it's like, just no, the hell with it.
That's good. We don't have those on ours. We just have like generic signatures that you put in.
Yeah, it's just a text link because no one's gonna click on it anyway. You know, speaking of, this is not related to this story, but speaking of Twitter, uh, I mentioned in our Discord I got my invite to Blue Sky.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it's it very much feels like whenever I got Mastodon all set up because it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. What do I do?
What's your name on there? Is it not Aroa?
It's at Aroa dot website or Aroa dot yeah
Wait,
Aroa dot website I think.
Aroa dot what? Yeah, it's at Aroa dot website. Okay,
That's okay.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna follow you because I've had a Blue Sky thing for a while.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's because I never
But
fucking use it.
well, yeah, because it's like, who do you follow? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I have
Like,
you, Earl, our good friend Earl Grey the Third, and a couple other people that were in like the shed with, which was
oh,
the
I
mixer
remember.
group, the mixer group that I
Yeah,
was in, and now it's completely dead. I still have it as a Discord, but nobody talks. It used to be super active, and then Mixer died, and just everyone left, and
yeah.
it
They
kind of
they
sucks.
tried to maintain and it just didn't work.
Well, a big part before we end it, a big part of that was nobody there was a partner, and in order to start a team on Twitch, you have to be a partner.
Oh,
And since everyone was a Mixer streamer, we all moved over, but we couldn't have it set as a team until one of the people, like one of the higher ups, ends up being a partner, and then you're able to partner create that team, which I think is dumb. Like, I
yeah.
could understand having like a limit where it's like, hey, you have to have 1,000 subs, or not subs, 1,000 followers before you can start a team. But having it that you can only be teamed if you're a partner, which is what percentage of the Twitch community is actually a partner. It's going to be pretty low, I would imagine. But anyway, that's
But what? But
I
the
yeah.
reason that I mentioned Blue Sky though,
Uh-huh.
it's
It
so fast.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. It
Like it's absurdly fast.
yeah, it's nice. I like it. Oh, hey, I got a new follower. Aroa has followed me.
Yeah, thanks to following you, then I got follow suggestions for Earl and Durga.
Oh yeah.
So I followed them.
Good, good. So yeah, apparently I have 5 invite codes.
Oh, cool.
So if anybody
But
anybody
it
listen to the
was really
podcast,
cool that it's cool that I could make my thing at Aroa.website.
that's nice. And I just made mine Reeton. I'm pretty sure. So it's just at Reeton everywhere. So if you're on
Well,
Blue Sky,
isn't it? It's like at Reeton.blue Bulski or something like that.
yeah, Reeton.bsky.social,
Yeah.
but just Reeton. I wonder if I could edit that. No.
If you own a domain, all you have to do is just add a couple of text records to your DNS and
Interesting.
you can do that.
Because I do have the Reeton Entertainment, which I'm
Yeah.
really sad. I'm still sad at myself that I didn't get Reeton.entertainment.
Yeah.
But whatever. I could still do it, but then it would just redirect. Anywho, we're gonna end this. I want to thank you for being here, Aroa.
No problem. I had just woken up from a nap.
Nice. And I will be here, or we will both be here next week, talking about more video games and tech and all that jazz. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.